Hello, come on in. I am so excited. Come on in. How are you doing? Come on in. Come on in. I tell you what, I'm so excited today to come to you and to talk to you about the critical components of motivation. The three critical components of motivation. I'm so excited to talk to you. I want you to know that life is worth living and you're going to get in life what you put in it. Matter of fact, you get in life of who you are. Les Brown says you get in life with who you are. And I really believe that. I'm so excited today. I heard a great message from my sister. We call her Apostle Me, and we were talking about decisions on yesterday. And what a great message on just decisions. I want you to go look that message up on Facebook. It should be under my name, under Marva Dupree, Bird name. I want you to go look that message up. It's called Decisions. And she talked about decision making. And there are some key things that we talked about concerning decision making. Concerning your decision making every day. Number one, it is said that you make close to 20,000 decisions a day. Now, imagine this, making close to over 20,000 decisions every day. Now, many of you are unaware that you make these decisions. And psychologists have suggested that you make a decision every 2 seconds. That you make a decision every 2 seconds. Wow. So that means we're constantly engaging and making decisions. If you are aware of this, then you are aware of the opportunity that you have every day to do something with your life. The opportunity that you have every day to shape your life because you're making over 20,000 decisions a day. Now, many of you would say, wow, I cannot believe that I'm making over 20,000 decisions a day. You know what? Isn't that so sad? Because most of the time we move by habit. We move by habit. And so the decisions that we make, even to open our eyes when we wake up, to get up with the alarm clock when we wake up, to brush our teeth, to make our bed, the decisions that we make, we don't even consider these decisions because they are so automatic. They are so automatic. But I want you to understand, as we're talking today, that your life is moved and your life will be transformed by the decisions that you make on a daily basis. Yes, even your mind, how you shape your mind, how you cultivate your mind will be predicated on the decisions that you make on a daily basis. What you decide to read, what you listen to will begin to shape your mind, and you are making that decision. Whether you're going through Facebook and scrolling through Facebook, whether you're listening to the radio, whether you're listening to a certain iPod or whatever you're listening to, I want you to know that it is your decision. Even stopping by this Facebook page, you are making a decision. And so the question is, If you keep doing what you're doing, the question is, where will you be at short term and long term? Where will you be at short term and long term if you continue to make the decisions that you're making? It is critical that you take in this season responsibility for your life. You take responsibility for your life and understand the decisions that you're making on a daily basis. You need to understand the decisions that you're making on a daily basis. Wow. I am so just excited concerning today, because when I woke up, it was a decision. When I put on my clothes, it was a decision. The things that I did in the morning to prepare, it was a decision. I want you to know that I'm so excited because I'm at another level in life where I want to take responsibility for everything that I have, for every assignment that I want to complete, for the places that I want to go, for the food that I eat, for the relationships that I have. I need to take responsibility, and it is nobody but me. When I look, the bottom line is, after I'm done assessing everything, doing some introspective work, the bottom line, I have to look at myself and I have to say that I am making these decisions. Look, today I want to talk to you about the three critical components of motivation. The three critical components of motivation. I want to help you to understand this. The three critical components to motivation. Yes. The motivation to change. There's three critical components. So many people, they have a desire to change. Now, when I say desire, I do not want you to get desire confused with emotion. A desire to change means that there is a longing to change, that you long to change, that you constantly think about change, that you constantly that you're constantly talking to people, that you're constantly meditating on ways that you can change. Yes, many of us have a desire, and the desire is not an emotion. Some people have a desire to change and they're depressed, but they still have a desire to change. Some people have a desire to change, they're happy, but they still have a desire to change. So our desire does not go anywhere. Our desire does not go anywhere. And so many times when we're talking about motivation, we speak of positive emotions, motivation, positive emotions. But I want you to understand, you can be motivated even when you're sad. You can be motivated when you're disappointed. You can still be motivated in depression or anxiety. You can be motivated, yes, in times of joy and when things are going well and feeling excitement. Yes, you can be motivated. So motivation goes throughout your emotions. Yeah, because the desire is there. The desire is there. So I don't want us to confuse motivation today with just a happy emotion or an exciting emotion, because we all know that when it comes to change, that we're going to experience different emotions. And experiencing different emotions are part of the change process. It is part of knowing ourselves. It is part of warfaring against ourselves. It is part of understanding where we're at when we begin to connect with emotion. So today, when we talk about motivation, I want to talk about your desire. I want to talk about motivation in the term of taking these action steps. Yeah, taking the action steps. So whether you feel good, whether you feel bad, whether you feel sad, whether you feel happy, whether you feel depressed, whether you feel courageous, yes, yes, you're motivated. Are you listening? You are motivated. But the question is, there are several types of people. There's number one, there's the person that constantly think about changing, but never change. They never take action steps to change it. Number two, there's a person that always engage in change, but they never finish. Yeah, they always begin it, but they never finish. Number three, there's a person that always are engaged with change, but they have a perfectionist mentality. And so although they maintain, but they never complete something because they have perfection. They're scared of what other people think. So many of us are at different phases of changes. But I want to talk to you today about habits. I want to move us into the three critical components of motivation. Why do some people engage in change and some people don't? Why do some people maintain change and some people don't? Well, it's all about motivation. There are three words that I want to talk to you today about, and they are: number one, ready, willing, and able. Ready, willing, and able. When it comes to your life, for something simple as losing weight, you have to assess these three things. Whether you want better relationships, you want a different job, whether you're battling insecurity or battling fear, you want to take new steps. You want to do something new. The question is, are you ready, willing, and able? Yeah. Even if you're ready to break addiction, are you ready? Are you willing? And are you able? Everybody has a desire. Everybody has some type of motivation. Whether we align our behavior with motivation or not, that is the critical point. But everybody has some type of motivation. But number one, ready, willing, and able. And let's begin to take these words. I'm going to reverse them and say able, willing, and ready. The word able means that do you have the ability? In other words, do you have the necessary skill, resources, or confidence to enact this change? Skills, resources, and confidence. Now, number one, your ability depends on the skill level that you have. Believe it or not, some people do not have the skill level to change. What do you mean? Because sometimes we get on people and we say, wow, you know what? You need to have a made up mind. Or we get on them and say, you need to be more committed, but they lack skill. They lack the resources to make these changes. You know, they don't have the expertise that is needed to make changes in their life. They don't have what we call the resources to complete certain tasks. They don't have these things. And some people need to learn again how to even manage their emotions. So when we're talking about change, the question is, do you have the skill to maintain? Some people don't have the money. It's not about their willpower, it's that they lack the funds, they lack the money. We all know to eat better is much more expensive than to eat garbage food. And it will take tremendous sacrifice for someone to eat better, for someone to become organic. This is all about having resources. having the skill to do it. So the question is, do you have the skills and the resources to maintain change? The skill. Wow. Do you have the learned ability to perform an action with the result? Some people need to learn this. Some people need to learn different skills of communication, different patterns of communication. Some people need to understand, need to learn how to express themselves. Some people are passive and they need to learn how to speak up for themselves. And this is a skill. It requires great skill. And just because you have it does not mean that you should compare yourself to others and where others are at. Some people do not have the skill to speak up for themselves. Yeah, interesting, right? But the question is, do you have the skill to do it? Do you have the skill to take out negative thoughts or to challenge negative thoughts that's in your head? It's more than just replacing a thought, but do you have the skill level? Can you focus? Do you have the skill level? Do you understand what it takes to replace this negative thinking and to align yourself with the behavior? It's a skill. It's one that's practiced over time. It's not just one that you're going to pick up over a day and you're going to perfect it. But when you're talking about replacing these negative thoughts, replacing your belief system, it is something that you're going to have to do over time. And over time, you're going to get better at the skill. You're going to be able to ignore those negative thoughts and replace them with what God said concerning your life. And so every day you have to work on the skill of transforming your mind. How you doing, Auntie? Every day you have to work on the skill of transforming your mind. Every day you have to work on the skill, watch, of battling yourself and warning against yourself and telling yourself no and making yourself get up and walk, making yourself go out and exercise. Every day you're going to have to build that skill of conquering yourself. And it is a skill. And the question is, have you built up the skill? Resources. Next thing, resources. Do you have the support? The people around you? Is your environment conducive to change? Some people want to change, but before they change, they have to leave their environment. Their environment is not conducive to change. Their environment is sabotaging. Their environment is constantly being belittled. People do not think highly of them. They're constantly being taken advantage of. What is your environment like around your home? Is your environment conducive to change? Do you have a spouse that encourages you to change? Or do you have a spouse? They want you to stay the same because they're too insecure to see you grow as an individual. And so now it's like rubbing on sandpaper, that every time you try to do something positive, that they're constantly bringing up negative. They're constantly throwing things at you. And you know what? It is so hard to change. And you want to change. You want to lose that weight. You want to become a better person. And the person that you are connected to, the spouse that you married to, they may become your biggest enemy to change. What do you do? Your environment has to be a place of change. Is your environment uplifting? Do you feel secure in your relationship that you can share your emotions, share your thoughts? Do you feel secure? Do you feel safe? Or are you concerned every week that your relationship may not last? This creates vulnerability. Emotional stability. Yes. Do you have the resources? So it goes past money. We're talking about emotional resources, psychological resources, support. Do you have friends, or are you alienated? Are you isolated? Are you being conditioned by your own thoughts? Do you have friends? Do you have people that you can call upon because you need those supports? Yes, I'm talking about the right environment. The right environment. So we need those resources. You need those strategies. Do you have the right strategy? Is getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, is that working for you? Or maybe you need to stay up to 10 o'clock at night and read because maybe you're more clear. But do you have the right strategy? Yeah, resources, even concerning strategies. What strategies do you have? And are your strategies working to obtain things in life, to get to certain outcomes in life so that you can go to another level, that you can have a breakthrough in life? Yes, you need a breakthrough in life. And the question is, do you have that strategy so that you can break through? Whether it's financially, whether it's physically, emotionally. Do you need to go see a therapist? Do you need to go see a nutritionist? Do we have the right strategies in place? Do you have the right life coach in place? Some of us are so frustrated that we cannot break to another level in life. And we don't even know that we don't have the right resources. You don't have the right resources. So under your ability, you got to have skills. You got to have resources. The last thing is, under your ability, are you confident? You know, you can have skills, you can have resources, but if you're not confident in your ability, if you're not confident to go try, if you're not confident to speak up, if you're not confident to go to the gym, you have to have confidence. A belief in yourself that you can go and do it, that you can achieve it. Confidence. And sometimes you just have to have confidence to try. Confidence to get it wrong. Do you know sometimes you have to have courage and confidence just to get it wrong so you can come back another different way? I remember one time when I was opening my business and I was going to the Reno Sparks Business Association. And it was my first time going. And I remember that I was so nervous in there. I did not see anyone there that looked like me. And I know the people were asking, like, why is he here? I was there because I wanted to understand business and what was going on in my community. But I had to have confidence to walk into a room that I was unfamiliar with. I was unfamiliar with. Do you know that people have resources? People have visions and dreams. They have the right plan, but fear stops them from implementing something life-changing in their life because they are fearful? Yeah, you got to have a level of confidence. that you can trust this process. So the first thing we talked about is being able, or having the ability. Having the ability means you have the skills, the expertise, talent to develop, to perform a task. You have the resources, the support, whether it's material, whether it's environment, whether it's psychologically or emotionally. We talked about that. And the third thing we talked about under ability is confidence. The next word I want to talk to you about, are you willing? The willing, the importance of change. Are you willing? The importance of change, one's desire. How much change is wanted or desired? In other words, your willingness, or what we call your volition. In other words, how thirsty are you for change to happen in your life? Because tough times will come. Discouragement will come. But the question is, do you trust the process? How many times have we given up because we could not see the end of the process? How many times? How many times have you held on to relationships long because you could not see the process? And so you would rather hold on to a toxic relationship versus let it go, because your fear of loneliness and the fear of not knowing outweighed your future. Yeah. Are you willing? Are you willing? Where's your desire? Are you hungry? Can you endure the process? Many of us, we start a lot of things, but we don't continue. And we have to ask ourselves, why? Why? Many of us are used to being distracted. Distraction is just part of our day. We can't even drive without looking at our phone. We can't even read without looking at our phone. Why? Because we're so used to a distraction. Distractions are an addiction. That's what they are. They're your addictions. You can't even focus. The first thing you do when you get up in the morning, you look at the phone. Yeah. Are you willing? How important is change to you? Does this mean something to you? Do you really want it? Like the air you breathe. What will you give up for it? Not just saying it, not I'll do anything. No, you won't do anything because you haven't done anything up to this point, you see? You're still in the same place. So don't say you'll do anything. You have to take that introspective. And if you feel like you'll do anything, but you keep coming to the same place, then what in your life is missing? What keeps this revolving door keeps going on in a circle concerning your life? Yes, you should be frustrated. You should be sad. You should be angry because now you're not at the place that you need to be. You could have had further things accomplished. You could have been further down the road, but that revolving door. Did you know not making a decision is a decision? Just because you ignore something does not mean it's not affecting you. And some of us say, well, I will hold off on the decision. You're making a decision. You're making that decision. You are. And that decision is affecting you. And because you don't choose, look, you got to make a choice. Whether it's a good choice or a bad choice, at least you know what's coming because you aligned yourself with a choice. You got to make a choice. But if you throw your hands in the air and say, I'm not making a choice, guess what? You are making a choice. You're making it. You're making that choice by not making it. And it's affecting your life as though you already made one, whether good or bad. Are you listening to me? So, Willing, what is this importance of change? How much of a desire do you have? How hungry are you for this change to take place in your life? How obsessed are you to make this change? The last thing is, are you ready? So we talked about your able or ability. We talked about being willing. Last thing is, are you ready? The person that is ready to make a change, they're engaging in behavior. They are lining their behavior up. They're lining their behavior up. You know why? Because they have a leverage. Leverage. Can I talk to you a little bit about leverage? The reason why some people don't change, is because they're not hurting bad enough. Yeah. And you say, Norris, I know people that's hurting really bad and they still don't want to. Look, they're not hurting really bad enough. Because one thing that you have to have for change is a leverage. You know, Sammy Davis Jr. was smoking cigarettes for over 30 years. Cigars for the majority of his life. I would say over 50, 60 years. But when the doctor told Sammy Davis Jr. that he had throat cancer, he immediately stopped smoking. Why? Because leverage. Leverage. And you need to give yourself the right leverage to make that change. It goes into how important is it? And Sammy Davis Jr., his life was important for him. He wanted to live, so he immediately stopped smoking. You need to find leverage. Stop gaining weight. Stop being obese. Maybe the leverage is you want to be able to play with your grandchildren. You want to see your grandchildren grow up and you want to see their children. Maybe that's the leverage that you need. Maybe financially, it's the leverage of buying a house. You need leverage. If you're ready to change, there has to be a leverage. It has to become important to you. What is the leverage? If you want a certain breakthrough in your life, if you want to move from one economic class, if you want to make $10,000 or $20,000 more, what is the leverage that you have? What is the leverage? What motivates you to go to work 8 hours a day and to take 2 online courses so that you can get prepared to have a promotion? That's leverage. What enables you to do that? What enables you? What motivates you? Got to have that leverage. It has to be important to you. It has to be something that's critical for you. The older you get, it is true, the more difficult it is to change. But it's not impossible. Yeah, it's not impossible. And that's why I'm coming to talk to you today about the three critical components of motivation. So, number one, ready. You taking behavioral action steps. You have leverage. It means something to you. Number one, you take responsibility for your decisions. Take responsibility for your decisions. Yes, people lied on you. You may have been sexually abused. I understand. Like, I'm a therapist, so I understand how things can be critical. But behind your decision making is you. Whether you're hurting, whether you're in pain, whether you're trying to avoid, whether you have an addiction, you have to understand that you are making these decisions. Yep. Mama's not there. Daddy is not there. You out of their house. You're making those decisions. So if you take responsibility, full responsibility, there is no one else to blame. Can somebody write that down? If you're taking full responsibility, there's no one else to blame. And how many of you know sometimes it hurts to take responsibility? Sometimes it's challenging to take responsibility, to look at ourselves in the mirror and said, you have robbed yourself of living the life God has ordained for you because you haven't taken responsibility. I know it hurts. I know it hurts. I know you're in pain. But you've been here long enough. You've made excuses long enough. You have to take full responsibility, and it's I that's putting the food in my mouth. It is I that's continuing to stay in this relationship. It is I that is on the table, that is on the chair, and I'm looking at 4-6 hours of TV. It's me. It's not my parents. It's not my children. It's me. I'm doing it. Take full responsibility. There's no one else to blame. Number two, commit to the process. Set yourself up for success. You know, the best thing to do when you're striving for a goal is to go cold turkey. Go cold turkey. Throw things out that will interfere with your success. When someone who's addicted or just got out of a substance abuse program, they have to find a new environment. They don't go back to their old environment so that they can be tempted again. They have to find new friends, new connections, new networks, new strategies, new people. Look at your environment. If you want to become emotionally healthy, start getting rid of emotionally detoxing things. Yeah. Including sad movies, sad music. Some of y'all, you should just be looking at happy stuff with happy endings. Throw all that sadness away. All your songs should be upbeat. Why? Because you're setting your environment up for success. Begin to set yourself up for success. Lastly, take those action steps daily. Daily. You have to take those action steps daily. Continue to renew your vow daily. Renew your vow daily. Take those action steps daily to becoming the person you want. Those are the three critical components of motivation. Are you ready? Are you willing? Are you able? We talked about, are you able? Are you willing? Are you ready? Look, today I'm arousing the conqueror in you. I cannot accept nothing less from your life but for you to be a champion and be a conqueror. I will not accept nothing less from you but for you to achieve. I cannot accept it. Anything else. You were made to win. You were made to be a conqueror. You were made to overcome. You were made to experience breakthrough, to experience a joyous life. You were made. And I cannot accept anything different for you. And I will not. And I come today to hold you accountable. God loves you. He cares for you. If you take one step, he's going to take two. I'm going to close with this story. I have a close friend, and she was obese, and she was overweight. She was married and she had children. She loved her spouse. She loved her children. But one day she said, I'm going to do something different. She was depressed. She had no employment. And she was just totally dependent on her husband. She decided to make her life better. So what she decided to do was to lose weight. And as she began to lose weight, the lower her weight became, the more her husband began to argue with her. She lived in a stressful environment anyway. He would tell her that you're obese and you're overweight. And instead of eating one bowl of ice cream, she would eat 3 bowls of ice cream to prove to him, I can do what I wanted to do. I want to do. She did not want to be controlled. But one day she decided to look herself in the mirror, and she decided to do better. And so she decided to start losing weight, and she started losing weight. She went out, found herself a job, and wow, she found out that she was smart. She was getting promoted. She was making sales, and the people loved her. She really started coming to into who she was. Well, she started losing weight. And she lost 70 pounds. After she lost 70 pounds, her husband accused her of cheating. This was devastating for her because the only thing she wanted to do was to feel good about herself, to love her husband, and to have a great family. But the more that she worked on herself, the more she became promoted, the more people started looking at her and started seeing good things, the more her husband tore her down, and the more he accused her. But she kept this vow that she wanted to be better. Despite all odds, despite all obstacles, she said she wanted to be better. Ultimately, she was divorced. Not because she wanted it, but because she became better as a person, that people seen her in a different light, that no longer could someone control her. And although she wanted the marriage, she had to finally choose between having sanity, feeling good about herself, or do she stay in an abusive relationship? She was motivated. What a tough choice. What a tough decision. But she wanted to be the best that she could be. And yes, it did hurt her. She got a divorce. It hurt her very much. But she could not let this moment pass her by. She was determined. I talked to her. She's still happy. She's still doing great things. She's still striving. And she's still a beautiful person inside and out. His loss. His loss. But she made a choice. I wonder about you today. She gave up something close to her. She was married for this guy for years. Knew him since elementary school. Hurt her deeply. But she had to make a choice to be in the better place she is today. Now she's healthier, happier, a better mother, a better person. What about you? Are you just watching life passing you by? Are you making excuses for why you have not made that decision, for why you're not committed, for why you're not following through in the process? Are you making excuses? Today is your day to make that choice. Do not let another moment, another hour, another afternoon, another night go by without being committed. Don't do it. There's a treasure deep inside of you, and it's ready to shine. Today is your day to be a conqueror. Be blessed. Have a great day. Thank you for your support.